Yeah. Bueno, entonces ya llevo 10 años construyendo en Nueva York, ¿no? Este año sentí que por primera vez realmente yo veía como el resultado de la comunidad que he estado construyendo. Y mi comunidad es gente como tú, como artistas, creativos, migrantes, personas que queremos salir adelante con muchas ganas de crear. Mis papás se conocieron en la Avenida Juárez. Nací, crecí en Ciudad Juárez. Emigramos a El Paso, Texas. Sí, me considero una persona fronteriza. Porque hay personas en Juárez y personas en El Paso que no son fronterizos, que nunca cruzan, que no tienen contacto con el otro lado del muro. Mi vida siempre ha estado como de los dos lados, pues. Pasé toda mi adolescencia en El Paso y después de eso me fui a vivir a California. A los 18 años a estudiar periodismo visual en Brooks Institute en Ventura, California. Fotoperiodismo, porque en ese entonces las cámaras de cine no eran nada accesibles, ¿no? O sea, no existían las mirrorless cameras en ese entonces. Ni DSLRs existían que hicieran video, pues. My mom has always been very successful and hardworking. I had braces for like 6 years and I was living in Juárez. So my mom was a dentist. So one of her professors was my dentist. He hooked me up. Yeah, my mom was a dentist in Juárez. Mi papá había estudiado administración de empresas en la universidad. Y dijo, no, pues voy a abrir una agencia de comunicaciones, publicidad. Fue a Japón con otros creativos que también habían sido seleccionados. Mi papá regresó de ese viaje, traía varios regalitos. Uno era un Game Boy para mi hermano y a mí me traía una camarita de plástico amarilla. Me encantaba esa camarita. En ese entonces no existían pues los smartphones ni nada. Afortunadamente siempre he tenido el apoyo de mis padres. Apoyo y aprobación de mis padres. Te podría mostrar algo que hice y en la uni me dijeron que no, güey. Me dijeron que si yo cruzaba la frontera para hacer ese proyecto, que me iban a suspender. Porque no querían que yo me arriesgara a contar esa historia. Yo me acerqué lo más que pude a la frontera y grabé y puse eso en el proyecto. Me acuerdo mucho de uno que era contar como un documental sobre alguien. Y yo tenía un amigo que era músico. Y me acuerdo que hizo un freestyle con su guitarra y contó una historia de su vida. Y la maestra me dijo como que no, esto no funciona. Como que ella quería que yo hiciera escenas, como que hiciera otra cosa. Pero, o sea, yo pienso que esta profesora como que en ningún momento nutrió mi creatividad. O sea, como que yo llegaba con cosas creativas y ella me decía como que no funciona. Que todas las personas que yo recuerdo que estaban en esa clase conmigo, quizá yo fui como la única que realmente se quedó en la industria del cine documental. Ese comentario me impulsó a realmente trabajar en ese como skill, ¿no? Como en ese... O sea, en vez de dejar que alguien me dijera, no, tú nunca vas a poder hacer algo con esto, aunque realmente le eché ganas y me he dedicado siempre a esto. I think it was like the day before my visa expired, and that week a friend of mine that I'd met in LA, so he invited me to this Catholic mass on the US side of the border but at that time it used to happen every year on the border fence. So I went And I just filmed everything. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was just like down for the adventure that my friend had invited me to. And I remember filming everything and sort of knowing that like my life was about to change.
Sin pena de nada, hacemos de Juárez, yo soy de Juárez, véngase. Hacemos a todas.
Like, I don't even remember editing the film. Like, I just remember I sat down and the film came through. Like, I don't even remember, to be honest, like, filming, saying, like, oh, this moment is important. Like, I remember being there, but I don't remember consciously being like, this person's a great character. Let me film this. No, like, I was just filming everything. I was just like, whoop, 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 whoop. And same thing with the edit. Like, it just kind of came through. And then this film, Border Mass, existed. It's still one of my favorite films that I've made. Because it was my first film, you know, my first out-of-school film. It defines so much of my professional and personal path. I was like 23 years old and my film was being shown in like PhD classrooms. It was like a historic document. Like, never again was the border going to look like that. Sometimes when I'm making these things, I don't realize how valuable they are until later. I moved to Iowa to do my master's degree, the David Lynch Master's in Film, where I wrote Undocumented Freedom, which was my thesis for my master's degree.
Well, you said your documentary's about what it feels like. What it feels like to be an illegal immigrant. And so this feeling, I always say that a lot of times we look at films and I use the example, somebody's crying on a screen, but the audience doesn't feel like crying. The audience doesn't feel that thing that's making that person cry. So you have to, if you want to get the feeling of what it's like, you work in your editing and in your sound and in your music to get that feeling. And so people kind of really, it translates over and it gets the feeling of what it's like. And if you think about that as you work, maybe you'll get there.
Thank you, that's great advice. I think I will get there. And it was the story of my friend Beto, and I was telling his story.
As I'm growing up, you start to realize, wait a minute, what's a social security number? Why am I different?
At that time, there was like this narrative about illegal people, illegal aliens, and I wanted to sort of undo that narrative and show in this film that somebody who was being called an illegal alien and a criminal was actually a really lovable human being that just wanted to thrive and was just like all of us. So in 2015, I was invited to join a project about an Algerian musician. Part of that project allowed me to travel to Africa for the first time in my life, to North Africa. I went to Morocco, I went to Algeria, I worked on this film, I met these incredible people in the Sahara Desert in Algeria, which was wild. Blew my mind to be exposed for the first time to this culture and this world because of my work.
Soy libre, toda la vida, puedo volar. ¿Dónde?
En el mar.
Muy bien.
I met Laura Miranda, who is my really good friend still, about 10 years later.
May you all experience the joy.
She's a Puerto Rican federal attorney, criminal defense lawyer. A friend of hers sent her my films, and so Laura Miranda reached out to me, and somebody that changed my life. She reached out and she was like, I watched your films. They touched my soul. And I want to help you. She invited me to New York. She said, if you come to New York, I'll help you. I was always like back and forth between New York and El Paso. And so I would come here and like network here and connect with people and make friends here, work, and then I'd go back to El Paso and do the same thing. So those were my two turfs. And then in 2018, I moved permanently to New York. It's probably been one of the best decisions of my life. You wake up every day and you kind of like hunting. You're like chasing the next gig. I'm also not the type of person, like I can't do 9 to 5s, you know, I can't, like I need my freedom. I founded Labu Productions, which is my production company. That came from receiving an email one day from this producer in El Paso who said he had watched one of my music videos that I made for a friend.
Siento en el alma un vacío, uno que no puedo llenar.
He wanted to work with me on a campaign for the 2020 census. And I was like, yeah, I'm game. So I started my company so I could hire people and like bring people on to make this commercial. And it was so cool, you know. I think at that time I wasn't a U.S. citizen then, but I felt so proud that like as an immigrant I was creating jobs and I wasn't taking anybody's job. The job you think I took from you is not even real. Like, I'm creating jobs. I've worked with an organization called DNA Works. They were one of the first organizations with whom I traveled the world as well. They wrote this film called Hamapa, the Map. Hamapa is a Hebrew word that means the map. Originally, it was like a ballet performance. And in the piece, they explore Adam's heritage as a Jewish person and an African American person. So we went to Poland. We went to West Africa, exploring his identity and his heritage. And it was such an amazing project because these people, not only were they making art, like Adam was doing some serious healing in his lineage. For the first time, I was really working with an organization that was seeking to heal and repair through art and by sharing their most real selves. In 2021, I became a U.S. citizen finally. And in 2022, I was invited to travel with the hip-hop diplomacy organization Next Level to Portugal as a documentarian and cultural ambassador of the United States. The second trip they invited me on was to the Philippines. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go. Again, 4
And the third trip they invited me on is Costa Rica. Me dedico a hacer documentales sobre intercambios culturales en el mundo del hip hop, que es una cultura también muy política, muy de la calle.
We are in Brooklyn, New York. There is lots of stuff to dig in Brooklyn.
Este proceso de ser embajadora cultural de Estados Unidos me permite ser un ente político en la cultura del hip hop. Lately, I've been working a lot with Democracy Now!, which is one of the very few respectable news outlets that this country has left. Amy Goodman, the host of Democracy Now!, is so cool. Recently, I was filming something with her. I looked at her and she was like, come here, with your camera, come here. Okay, so I took my camera off and I went with Amy where no one in the press was, and she tells me to get this shot that was on stage of this person, and she goes, nobody has this shot because they're all over there. And you're right here with me, so get this shot. And I just remember thinking, like, yo, my 18, 19, 20-year-old self studying photojournalism would have never imagined this day where Amy Goodman tells me, come get this shot that nobody has. Like, for Democracy Now! That we're going to air tomorrow morning on the show. Like, to me, that was like, Like, am I really living this? Like, the journalism legend is my mentor and my boss.
The single largest day of protest of President Trump's second term. Special thanks to Laura Bustillos. Coming up, we'll go to Minneapolis.
And I go into Democracy Now! And people know me and they know my name and they know my work. And that to me is so dope. Finalmente nos otorgaron un grant, el Laundromat Project, para organizar la primera edición de Cinema Studios, que estuvo súper, porque pudimos usar un edificio en Times Square, que es el edificio de American Documentary Institute. Invitamos a todos nuestros amigos que son cineastas en Nueva York y la verdad fue como una gran fiesta, una gran reunión de todos nuestros compas que hacen cine. Y tuvimos como un diálogo, después tuvimos una comida súper rica, después una proyección de cortometrajes y una pequeña como fiesta. Being with these dope homies is like such a reflection of who I am too. And that's really affirming and nurturing. My work has changed. O sea, ya no es como soy la víctima. Ahora es como, a ver, ¿cómo empoderamos a estas personas vulnerables que la sociedad constantemente victimiza?
Juárez, Chihuahua, México y El Paso, Texas. Esta manifestación es pacífica y es para visibilizar el feminicidio de nuestra querida compañera amada Isabel Cabanillas de la Torre.
Like I said, they're historical documents, but so much of it came from my trauma and like my limitations as a person who couldn't cross the border and somebody who had been a victim of violence. That has changed for me. I have access to the world. I am a culture creator, important and relevant voice of the times and of this country. Not only of this country, but also of my country of origin. You know, I feel like I'm just creating from a different place now, like a place of abundance and like access to things and a more deserving place. Like I've always been deserving, but I didn't know. And now I know. I mean, I have everything I need and more. I'm proud of what I've accomplished because it's been honest. It's been real. No one can take that away from me because I've built it. You can't demolish this thing I've built because it's so from the heart, hard-earned reputation and work. Not just good footage technically, but like I get in there. I get the story. I'm not afraid. I mic people up. I ask them uncomfortable questions. Nueva York no es una ciudad fácil. No, nada ha sido fácil. Pero pienso que mi experiencia aquí ha sido muy como meant to be. Hasta lo difícil también ha fluido chido. Es porque lo que hago, lo hago desde el corazón. Eso se transmite.